listening to From the Father's Heart podcast, where we empower you to live your best life by falling in love with a real God and connecting you to personal testimonies of everyday people. I'm your host, Adrianna Guadalupe of adriannaguadalupe.com, and I pray that you're encouraged as you listen to this episode. So without further ado, let's get started. Hey everybody, thank you so much for joining me today. This is our first episode of From the Father's Heart podcast, and I'm so excited to share my story with you and to just be here with you talking to you about exactly that, the Father's heart. So today we're just gonna talk a little bit about who I am and what I do and what my heart is and doing this whole podcast thing. So for those of you who are hearing my voice for the very first time, my name is Adrianna Guadalupe of adriannaguadalupe.com. I'm an organizing coach. I'm also an Etsy shop owner, and I love everything DIY. I am just a crafty person. I love crafting things and making handmade things, hence my Etsy shop. But I also love helping people get organized and empowering them that way. I'm a mom. I'm an entrepreneur. I have a fur baby, which means I have a dog for those of you who don't have pets. But my heart really is in this podcast, and I'm so excited to start this journey with you guys. So a few years ago, I started doing live videos on Facebook, and just sharing my story with people, sharing things that I've been through with them, and kind of just encouraging them and empowering them. Encouragement and empowerment is something that I'm very passionate about. I love talking to people and just being that light in a dark situation and helping them to just get wisdom on a circumstance or situation that they're facing. It's just a big passion of mine to just help people in that way. And when I did these Facebook videos, I had a lot of people who were like, when are you coming out with another video? I need another video. I need another video. And I honestly hated doing videos. I hated doing the Facebook Live videos. But I knew that I needed to share my story, something that God really put in my heart to do. So this podcast is not just about me. It's not just about my story. You're going to hear a lot about my story and who I am and things that I have come out of and have gone through in life. But my heart is to really reach beyond that, because I'm only one person in a world full of people. So I really want to reach beyond that, interview some people, have some people on this podcast who can really just give their expertise in some areas of life, because I am not a theologian. I am not an expert in biblical principles or anything like that. I am just an average person who serves an extraordinary God, and I have a calling on my life to empower people and encourage them, and I really just want to utilize every platform that God gives me to do that. So that's what I'm here for. That's my heart. That's what I want to express to you guys when you listen to this podcast. So a couple things that this podcast is not. This podcast is not about my personal opinions on things. There's a lot of podcasts that are out there that are just opinions about God, about the truth, about, whatever life circumstances that you face. There's just a lot of opinions out there. And one thing that I don't want is to just come on here and share my opinions about everything, because ultimately nobody cares, right? Nobody cares about your personal opinion. They want the truth. So my goal in producing this podcast is to just broadcast the truth about God's heart, to broadcast the truth about how God feels about you, how God feels about certain situations, how he feels about the things that you go through in life, and how you can really see that in a practical way, because sometimes we over spiritualize things and we make things so intangible and so just mystical that God seems like this thing that we can't get our hands on, when he's actually the opposite. God is very tangible and he's very practical in some senses. He's also an amazing out of the box being, but he also cares about the practical things in life. He has order. He has, laws that he's created because they make sense and they help us. So God's heart is really more than just an opinion. It's more than just, how do I feel about the truth? I really want this to be a place where people can experience the truth about who God is through testimonies. So a few years ago, I'll give you a little backstory. A few years ago, I was sitting down and meditating and just praying to God, and the Bible verse in Revelation just kept replaying in my mind, where it says that, and they overcame by the word of their testimony. It also says the blood of the Lamb and the word of their testimony. I'm kind of cutting that short. But what I realized in my own life is that I don't share my story enough. And there's a power behind sharing my testimony, sharing my story that I haven't even tapped into yet. And I just felt like God was like, you know what, Adrianna, there's things that you continuously battle. And if you would just share your story, if you would just share your testimony, your experience of what you've gone through, you won't have to battle those things anymore. And that really took me back, because I was like, oh, I don't want to, there's some things that you just don't want to share, right? There are things that you just don't want to talk about to certain people, things that you don't want people to hear about because there's shame, there's darkness there, there's just filthiness, there's just things that make you feel dirty, and you're just like, let's not talk about that. Let's just talk about the victory, right? Let's just talk about the other side of that storm. I don't want to talk about the storm because I've been through the storm, didn't like it, glad I'm out of it, so on and so forth. But there's power in your story. And the purpose of this podcast is to really give people a platform where they can share their story and experience the power behind their testimony so that they can truly overcome the things that they've been through. Not just for myself. This is not just like, oh, Adrianna's going to come on here so she could just, fulfill her life's destiny or to overcome, the issues that she has. But this is really a platform for other people and for their stories to be shared, which is why I really want to get people in here and get them interviewed and get them talking about their stories, not just my own. But there's something that we learn from each other when we share experiences with each other. And I believe that's a power that we have really not fully tapped into as a church, as Christians. And I really feel from God that this is the moment. This is the time where we really need to share our stories and to help people, to empower people, and to let them know that they're not alone in the world and that they can overcome anything if they have God in their life. So that's from the Father's heart. This is what we're about. And I really hope and pray that you guys are always encouraged every time you listen to an episode, every time you tune in. I hope that you hold me accountable on social media. You can find me on social media at Adrianna K. Guadalupe. Hold me accountable, please, because I am a leader in the church. I am a full-time mom. I do have a side business with my Etsy shop. So there's a lot of things going on in my life. And I know that this is something that God really wants me to do. So if you hold me accountable and you follow me on social media and you make sure that these episodes are being released when they're supposed to be released, that would be such a big help for me. So help me as I help you, and together we're going to create something great. We're going to make such an impact in the world, and I'm so excited to share this whole journey, this whole experience with you guys. So a couple shout outs that I have to do before I end this first podcast. I have to shout out my husband because he's amazing. Without him operating and doing the things that God has called him to do in this season, I wouldn't be able to operate and do the things that God has called me to do in this season. So I really have to give a shout out to my husband, Moses. He's amazing, and God bless him. I love him with all my heart. Another shout out I have to give is to my girl, Sequoia. She is online at sequoiafreeman.com. She's the owner and founder of Next Steps Media, and she is amazing. She helped me with setting all the stuff up that I needed for my podcast, making sure that I had the right graphics and things on my website were set up the correct way, that I had a whole outline and everything. She is amazing. So if you need a social media manager or somebody to do a visual storytelling for you, Next Steps Media, Sequoia Freeman, check her out at sequoiafreeman.com. All right, guys. So next episode, I am going to be talking about the greatest battle that we face as human beings and how we overcome that battle. What is the battle that we face in everyday life and how we overcome it? So stay tuned for the next episode. Thanks for listening to this episode. If you've been touched by this podcast, please share this with someone you love. You can share your story with us by sending me a message on social media at Adrianna K. Guadalupe or emailing us at info@adriannaguadalupe.com.